This is the SFL Update on Twitch.tv. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our first ever SFL offseason update live here on Twitch. I'm the SFL Commissioner and play-by-play commentator Cameron Irvine. We've got a lot of stuff on our plate. Won't be the most exciting update of the season, not by a long shot. We will have a lot of entertainment for you before we kick off our sixth season next calendar year. But for now, we have to get through sort of some exciting changes that have been happening on the back end of the SFL. And, of course, next week, my goodness, we've got a great show for you. We'll announce the 4 new expansion teams. That's what our expected number is going to be. And we will get to 16, 2 conferences of 8. And for the first time, divisions in the SFL. We will announce those divisional alignments as well. For now, we say hello to all of you who are in the chat with us live tonight. Darth Destro MD, Flava 2K, Football Dude 93. I'm Affin Problem, Jason 1347, L Marshall JR 89, Luthorn 16, My Maj C, TJ Cag SFL, Ua Bird and X Factor 56. A lot of fans with us, or a few owners as well. Who know most of this information or all of this information, but it's a good chance for them to catch up as well. And we're just going to jump right into it, explaining to you all the adjustments that we've made in the SFL and how it's going to make things even more exciting as we move into Season 6. So tonight, here's what's on the docket. First, we will discuss the new salary cap and the new setup of gold, silver, and bronze stars on the field. We'll talk about how market value has changed and why that's more valuable than ever to teams and players. We'll discuss the new contract system, which has gotten some of the most buzz in the offseason so far. Players are going to get a big payday as the SFL rolls in some new money for those guys. New free agency system as well. Will really make things interesting, especially for you, the fan, who will get to hear decisions about free agents and where they are destined to go live on the air for the first time. And new rookie draft procedure has been discussed as well. There are still things left for SFL owners to discuss. Meetings have run over. They will continue through this week. And along with expansion announcements, and divisional alignment, we will have more of those rules and more of those alterations to discuss next week as well. So we start with the new salary cap and the new star setup. Previously, the salary cap was $45 million. That has been increased more than double. And it's a flat $100 million salary cap. We've moved from a 2-3-5 system to a 3-4-5 system, so we'll actually have 2 more stars on the field, a gold and a silver. Owners voted to alter that as we now are able to put more stars on the field. Looking into adding more in the future, but wanted to make sure that we didn't grow too quickly. That will expand the rookie draft as well from 1 to 3 rounds, and we'll get to that a little later. So last year, bronzes this is last year's numbers in parentheses, could have 0 to 1 abilities, silver 0 to 2, gold 0 to 5. But this year, bronzes will be able to have 0 to 2 abilities. Silvers will start at 1 ability and can have as many as 3. Golds will have 2 abilities and will have as many as 5. So you can already see that bronze players and silver players will even be more valuable than in the past. It will, however, as you will get to see the values later in the show, it will put some interesting teams on the field, because if you want to have a talented bronze lineup, you're going to pay for it somewhere else. Same thing with having a stacked silver lineup. Same thing with having 2 mega superstars on your team. It's a give and take system, but it's a system that allows for more freedom. And if a team would rather have their bottom of their lineup perform a little bit better than usual, they now have the option to do that. If they'd like the top of their lineup to perform a little bit better than usual, they have the ability to do that as well. So that is the new salary cap and star setup. So for any potential expansion teams out there, or for current owners, get used to the system, get used to having more freedom in terms of how you build your team. More freedom, but also a more simplistic setup from a league standpoint to make sure that we have a model that we are able to grow and develop. So here's the new definition of market value. Players used to demand a specific amount of money, forcing owners to often overpay for contracts. For example, it's 1 million per ability in the past, and so that would leave values of 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, the standard rate. But when players would come back with market value, they would demand 2.6 million, or they would enter into free agency, causing teams to have to overpay by $600,000, and it caused the math to get a little tedious to add up, especially when we're adding and confirming for multiple teams across the league. So now players will demand a specific tier instead, and it's up to the owners on whether or not they want to sign them anywhere within that tier. So, for example, a superstar would demand that he has a gold that he gets a gold level contract the next season and for future seasons to come. The owner now is not restricted on a specific money value. They could make that player a gold with 2 abilities per year, or they could make them a superstar up to 5 abilities per year. So again, more freedom for the owner and a little bit more of a simplistic attitude of the player, so that things are not as convoluted. Teams will have full control over who they can sign before free agency. Before, you could only save one player. You could extend a player, one of the ones after the contract had expired, and you could franchise tag a player. That has all gone away. What comes of that is, if you have 5 players whose contracts are expiring, for example, you have the ability to sign all of them before they reach free agency. You just have to be willing to meet the demands of the player. So that's sort of how market value changes the landscape of free agency. It changes the landscape of contract negotiations in the offseason. And we'll have an SFL update on those contract negotiations, because this offseason, owners are starting fresh. They'll be signing guys to their current market value. And we're going to have a lot of interesting movement in terms of what type of deals players sign. And you'll get to hear all of those decisions made live right here on the SFL Network later this offseason. So next, we go to the new contract system. And I hope that you all can read this. And I'm going to, looks like we're cut off here a little bit on the bottom of the photo. So let me try to help us out with that. Just bear with us a minute because we want you to be able to see everything and anything. I can't blow it up. If it's hard to see, is it hard to see for anybody right now watching live? If it is, I can upload the actual file if it needs to be bigger. Looks okay on my screen. Okay. It's better safe than sorry. And give me a second. You may have to maximize and go full screen, but should be able to get you a good version here. Unfortunately, we're having issues, so you'll have to look at it like this. Maximize your screen. I apologize. We don't have another version with the white background, but here you can see the values of the gold, silver, and bronze stars. And you can see now that players are much more expensive. And the first thing that jumps out to me is that the most expensive bronze is the same price as the least expensive silver. In the past, the money just came out of abilities. So you could have a 2-year, $4 million contract for a silver, and you could also have a 2-year, $2 million contract or a $4 million contract for a bronze. They would be the same exact price, even though one would be silver and one would be bronze. And that wasn't correct. That wasn't good enough because silvers, golds, and bronzes are all sort of start at a different default level of ratings. And so silvers and golds needed to be more expensive than bronzes naturally. So this new cap has reflected that. Uh, as you can see, well, depending upon how you do the math, basically the math is calculated like this. A bronze star has a flat rate of $1 million per season before abilities are even added. So, for example, the 2 seasons, 0 abilities bronze is $2 million because it's a flat rate of $1 million per season, and then obviously no abilities gives you a total of $2 million. The silver is $2 million per season flat rate, and the gold is $3 million per season flat rate. So, for example, the max gold, $32 million, that's 32% of a team's salary cap, would be a flat $3 million rate for 4 seasons. That's $12 million. Plus the 5 abilities per season over the course of 4 seasons, that's $20 million. And the 12 plus 20 gives you the $32 million cap hit. So you could see there's plenty to play around on this chart, and owners will be able to simply offer these simple contracts to players. And once you have your 12 players, as long as their contracts total up to less than 100 million or 100 million exactly, and you're good to go. You're under the cap, and you can have your team. Easier said than done. We're going to see some interesting contracts and interesting team makeups. And if you look at it, for example, you're going to be able to have 3 golds. So let's say that you sign a $32 million gold. Let's say you sign a $21 million gold and a $15 million gold. That totals $68 million. You have 32 million remaining on your final 9 players. That is going to be very hard to achieve, especially since 4 silvers have to be signed. Even if you sign 4 silvers to the minimum, that's 24 million, which leaves you 8 million left. Even if you signed 5 minimum bronzes, that is 5 million and leaves you just 3 million left. And you also have to work into free agency pickups and or the potential to have to sign somebody due to injury. It leaves very interesting possibilities if you wanted to go that route. That's just one team example. You could sort of play with the math really all night long, as most teams will do this off season when trying to figure out their contracts. Teams will start negotiating with players for new contracts here in a couple of weeks. So we'll start getting to see the transactions roll in. That is the new contract system across the league. Very simple. You can sign a player to any one of those 20 contract options and wipe your hands of it. Next up is a new free agency system, and you're probably going to have to maximize your screen here as well. And I didn't check the crop on these shots before we went on the air. I totally should have, but we're going to move that up for you. So here's the new free agency system, and then we'll get to the rookie draft in a moment. So in the previous free agency system, if you didn't know, there was a countdown clock. And once a contract offer was made to a player, then that player had 3 days to decide. A team could submit one contract per day, and the issue with that is that a player could, or a team could be in the lead on a specific player for 2 days, and right at the last second, someone come in, swoop in with a better contract and sign the player. Owners didn't feel that was realistic enough. The league was also looking to simplify the process as well so that we could display free agent signings a little bit better and in a little bit more of a breaking news fashion here on the air, which, again, we will also have a free agency decision show as part of our SFL offseason updates here on the SFL Network on Twitch. But here basically is the new free agent system, and most of these are just the ladder, the order of operations in the tie-breaking system. So owners will submit priority sheets to determine who they pick up in free agency. For example, if your number one priority is getting a gold wide receiver, he would be at the top of that free agency list. Priority sheets will be listed in order of most desired position. And I want to pause here for a question from DJ Pac-Man XD 2014. What will the players have in the system? And can you elaborate and sort of expand on that thought? Because I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. While he rethinks his thoughts, I'll continue. Priority sheets will be listed in order of most desired position, as I said, in terms of the contract that's being offered all the way down to the smallest contract being offered. With each position, owners will label a tier and how much money the player will make. Within each position request, owners will prioritize players from most desired to least desired. So, for example, if your most desired free agent is a gold wide receiver, you would list that your number one priority is a wide receiver who is a gold. You would say how much you're going to pay this player, and then you would list which wide receiver you would most like in free agency all the way to the least desired wide receiver in free agency. I will begin reviewing priority sheets in order of most money offered, so we'll start at the top of the food chain and work our way down. If a tie occurs at money plus same position plus tier offered, plus same position, tier offered will serve as a tiebreaker. If tie occurs at money plus same position plus tier offered, order of priority will serve as the tiebreaker. If tie occurs at money plus same position plus tier offered plus order of priority, the winner of the free agent will be chosen at a bidding war. The league will air a free agency show or two to announce free agent signings, depending upon how dramatic we want it to be. DJ Pac-Man XD 2014 has some more clarification for me. What will the players have as in the most sim-like meeting and negotiation, the contract with the manager, owner, etc.? So DJ Pac-Man XD 2014, I believe what you mean is how will the player negotiate with the owner on what deal they get? Is that what you're asking? MyMaj C asks, is that so you don't have to draft free agents? Well, technically you didn't ever draft free agents, But the point is that the league can sort of take all of these priority sheets and owners can have more success in terms of what their biggest priorities are. Uh, at times, things seemed random in the free agency process. I had to sort of make an educated decision about what pitch was the best to the player, what each team offered in terms of the success that the player could potentially have. I sort of had to have some discretion. That takes some discretion, out of it, and it sort of puts it back in the hands of the owners, um, and allows owners to better control their own destiny in order of what they most desire. So it's complex on the surface, but what happens is, as a result of that, is we'll be able to get on the air, we'll be able to have a free agency show, and we'll be able to announce breaking news. This player has signed the most expensive deal in the league. It's so and so. He'll be signing with so and so, and that's a huge signing and a huge um, alteration of the receiver landscape, especially for any team that also wanted a receiver. That receiver comes off the board. He got his payday, and it's sort of suspenseful in terms of the receivers or at any position. I'm just using receiver as an example. That leaves sort of the suspense of, there's a lot of people being taken. I hope that I land a free agent along the way. So Dart Destro MD asks, so how many players are we retaining from the previous season and how many will we be required to draft? The rookie draft will be 3 rounds, and we'll get to that in just a minute. But to your previous point in regards to how many each team is retaining, that's up to the team. Every player will come back. Contracts have been reset. Every player will come back to the owner from the previous season, and they will say, I played to this caliber last season. I played to a bronze caliber, a silver caliber, a gold caliber last season. I want you to make me this caliber of player. If you don't, then I'm going to be a free agent and test the market. If you do, we're good. So potentially a team out there could re-sign all of their players. A team out there could re-sign none of their players. It's all up to the owner in terms of how much money they want to spend and what the players are demanding of the owner, in regards to whether or not the player re-signs or enters free agency. That will all happen during the contract negotiation period, which, once again, the final decisions on all those contracts will be broadcasted live here on the network. DJ Pac-Man XD 2014, I'm trying to follow you. I really am. You're a player, I'm guessing. And now, and you're also asking about halftime shows. We are focusing on putting out a halftime show product all our own, but that's still a ways down. Broadcast presentation and all those meetings will take place in likely December. So the final issue that has been covered in discussing rule changes among the owners this week was the new rookie draft procedure. Previously, the rookie draft was split into conferences and had one round, and only one position could be, or one player could be taken from one position. For example, if the number 1 pick was a quarterback, no one else in the conference could take a quarterback. The difference is, as KMUF M4ND gives you spam, ignore that. The difference is, oh, wow, we really must be hitting the big time if we're getting lots of spam. Anyway, new rookie draft procedure is one gold and one silver player will be available at each position per conference. There will be an unlimited amount of times a position can be drafted. Previously, as I said, just one player per position per round. The SFL has had over 20 entries so far from fans who want to become players. An announcement on those procedures will come in the next few weeks. Again, apologize for some of our cutoff graphics there. I was running a fever yesterday and I'm still trying to recover, so forgive me for the tiny errors. It's a lot of ground that has been covered in owners' meetings, and there's still a lot to be covered. There's still talk about injuries that needs to occur. There's still talk about exactly what will happen with people that have applied for the drafts, whether that be the expansion draft or the rookie draft. We'll announce expansion and the divisional alignments next week. We have a lot still left to discuss, and I want to bring up the schedule for you if you are not familiar with the schedule of broadcasts here on the SFL Network before the season begins. So here's the full schedule right here. October 19th, that's today, rule change announcements. October 26th, that's next week, new team and divisional reveals. November 2nd, we'll have contract negotiation updates. November 9th, we'll have the expansion draft. That will also be 3 rounds. So that's when expansion teams will be required to draft some of the new faces that want to become rookies in the SFL. On November 16th, we'll meet the full roster of the expansion teams and sort of break down how they are going to be built. That'll be exciting. That'll be the owners' first chance, the current owners' first chance to get a look at expansion teams as well, live on the air. November 23rd, we'll have our rookie draft broadcasted live. That'll be 3 rounds. November 30th, we'll have that's Thanksgiving week, so we will not have a broadcast. December 7th, the weekend of December 7th is a big weekend. We'll have free agency reports, one for sure, potentially 2 nights of free agent announcements. December 14th, we will release our schedule. And remember, we will have more games than ever before on the SFL docket. So that's going to be very exciting to unveil. December 21st, we will launch our full new website. You're sort of getting a glance at what our new website looks like. As you can see our history, our staff, and you can sign up to be an owner, although that's winding down, but be a player, be a coach in the league. You can also join our staff in streaming games and producing media content for us, all that good stuff. But we'll launch our full website December 21st. Then we'll take a Christmas break, and then we'll come back for the season preview show and hit the airwaves once again with Season 6 in early 2016. So DJ Pac-Man XD 2014 asks, will we be able to pick to choose free agent market or going to a team? So if you're a player, the way you signed up, and I can show you if you have not signed up already exactly how it works. So when you go through and create your player, you enter an email address, you enter your player's name, and it asks you, how would you like your player entered into the SFL player pool? You can choose a specific position. By choosing a specific position, you forfeit which team you actually can get drafted by. So, for example, you can't choose both quarterback and Louisville. You can either choose quarterback and get drafted by any team as a quarterback, or you can choose that you want to be on a specific team. If you want to be drafted by Louisville, then Louisville will draft you when it's their turn to make a pick. but you forfeit your right to a position. The reason for that is that an owner or a specific team may not need or want the desired position that you're looking to have. For example, if you want to be a strong safety on Santa Fe and they don't need a strong safety, then you wouldn't get picked up. And we want all of our potential players to get picked up around the league. So that's how that will work. Follow along with the rest of the form. And that's how you do it, right on our home website of simulationfl.com. Again, it's phase one of our rollout. You can see our partners, PX1 Sports, Casual Adult Gamers, and Simheads at the bottom. Links there as well, along with all of our social media team links will be active with that full launch. If no one has any other questions, this is just about it. That wraps up the first episode of the SFL update here this offseason. L. Marshall JR89 asks, do we have new expansion teams? Yes, you bet. We're expected to bring in 4 teams. We will have 16 teams next year. We will have 8 games a week. Buys have been eliminated. So we will have 2 games on one night, 3 games the next, 3 games the next, all live at the same time over multiple networks. We'll be showing highlights from around the league throughout the evening. Also potential to have a setup where we have 1 showcase game a week and then a 4-game Sunday setup on Sunday. It all depends on the type of help we can get on the back end to make broadcasting multiple games at the same time a success, and we have no doubt that is going to add next level immersion to the SFL. If anyone has or if no one has any other questions, we'll call it a night, people. I hope it wasn't too difficult to understand. I know it's a little bit challenging sort of reading words and not seeing things come to action, but I can assure you it will make for a very dramatic offseason here on the SFL Network on Twitch, and we're very excited to bring it all to you live. Also, it should be noted, owners will not know any of these. They'll know their own decisions, obviously, contract decisions, draft picks, etc. But owners will not be aware of other teams' negotiations and decisions along the way. So that'll be pretty exciting. Alrighty, everyone. This has been a presentation of the Simulation Football League. I am your play-by-play commentator of the SFL and league commissioner. We'll get back to work getting the SFL ready for an outstanding Season 6. We are fired up, and we hope you all are too. From our SFL headquarters in San Antonio, this is Cameron Irvine signing off.